Afternoon, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School, back out here at the Pathfinder Outfitters Kitchen. Long awaited. I got one particular subscriber who hits me up about once every 2 weeks or once every week, every few videos about the Tomahawk Steak. So today, we're going to cook a Tomahawk Steak. Now, this thing is huge. It's bigger than almost anything I have to cook it in. So we're going to improvise a few things today while we're cooking this steak. Right now, what we're doing is we're letting it get to ambient temperature before we do anything. Then we're going to salt and pepper this thing, and then we're going to sear it in a large pan. After that, we're going to actually cook this steak to bring it up to temperature on a lower heat, and we're going to have to improvise something to do that because the length of this thing is longer than any Dutch oven I have. So it's not like I can just stick this thing in a Dutch oven and go for broke. We're gonna have to improvise a few things. We'll see how we do that as we go. So stay with me and we'll get started. All right, so one thing we're gonna have to do here to get this to fit correctly in our Dutch oven so that we can cook this after we sear it is we're gonna need to get rid of this tomahawk bone that's in here, this large bone that gives you like a handle for a tomahawk on a tomahawk steak. And I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait to remove that bone until after we sear. So we've got something to hold on to, really easy to flip the steak. Once we do that, we'll cut that bone out before we finish the steak itself. So that's just a decision I kind of made on the fly, looking at what I had to cook with and looking at how I want to do things. Okay, this thing's almost down to room temperature now. And we need to give this thing a good rub down before we decide we're going to sear it. And 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of pepper is about the recommended amount, and this is a 3-pound steak. It's a huge steak. So we're just gonna take some of this and we're gonna use it like a rub. And we're gonna rub it in really, really good. And we're gonna make sure we get the sides as well. Really good. And we're using this board so we can pick the stuff up off of it as we're doing this. But we want to make sure we get the sides of this thing really, really good and get this stuff in the meat. We'll go to this back side here. All right, and we'll let that dude sit for a minute and we'll get our searing surface ready. This Bayou burner is one of our favorite pieces of kit for cooking with big skillets or large implements, especially in the field. Light that dude right up with a ferro rod. The flame is really well adjustable on this thing. Now, we'll get our searing skillet on here. Okay, you can see that thing smoking now. That's what we're looking for, that smoking heat. Now we're gonna get this dude on. Get it in the best contact we can here. Again, our skillet's not quite large enough. That's why we're gonna remove that bone here in a few minutes. But we got the main portion of the steak on there for sure. We're gonna give that about 3 minutes aside. Look at that. All right, let's get her off of there for a minute. All right, while our Dutch oven's heating up over here, again, this is a pretty hefty piece of meat here. So we're gonna go ahead and cut the meat away from this bone. Take it completely out. We don't want to lose any of that for sure. Get down to this cartilage down here. Just cut through that. There we go. Now we got something we can put inside an oven. All right. So now we cut that bone out of there. She fits real good in that Dutch right on the rack. And we're not quite up to temperature yet, but we're pretty close. Doesn't hurt to put it in there a couple minutes early. Cover it up. It's going to take about 30 to 40 minutes probably for that thing to get up to temperature. We'll check it with a meat thermometer here in a few minutes and see how she's doing, but man, oh man. Yeah, cutting that bone out was the ticket. That thing is laying perfect on top of that rack. Woo-wee. All right, so you got to make constant adjustments here. You know, we're looking at temperature right now of about 400. I wanted it about 350, so I turned it down just a shade, and I'm going to crack this Dutch oven lid a little bit on one side just to kind of let some heat escape. Then I'm going to go back after it. Okay, so while we've got our steak cooking, I put a full stick of butter in a stainless steel bowl here just to melt on top of that Dutch oven. There's plenty of heat to do that. To that, I'm going to mix a crushed clove of garlic, about a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and just a touch of this bone-sucking steak seasoning. I really like that stuff. Put some of that in there. We'll let that melt. We'll mix that up. Now that's what we're going to use over top of our steak when it's done. All right, we're sitting right at that 130 right now. We're going to jerk this dude off of here and let it rest. All right, we let this steak rest for about 15 minutes. And that's just to raise the temperature inside the steak by about 5 degrees after the fact. We pulled it at 130. 135 should be a medium rare steak. We're gonna take a little bit of our sauce that we created here and just drizzle it over the top, just like that. We'll cut into this dude and see what we got. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. Nice and pink right there. A little darker on the outsides. Really, really nice and juicy. Look at that. Oh, man. Cut us off a bite here and see what we got. Oh, my gosh. That thing is delicious. Woo-wee. Hey, guys, so we got us a bottling company Birch beer here. Actually, it's a craft soda. It's just called beer. It's more of a root beer made with birch. Really, really, really good. Of course, I've already tried this steak, and it's absolutely delicious. Zon's already had a piece of it as well. Man. Steak just doesn't get any better than that. I mean, look at the color in that thing. Golly, you can't even know how good that is without being here to taste it. You can't even know. That thing just melts in your mouth almost. Golly. Man. Well, for my buddy who kept saying tomahawk steak, there's your tomahawk steak, buddy. Definitely more than me and Zon are going to be able to eat, but that's okay. I got a class of 30 students coming here tomorrow. Instructors coming in tonight. We got a full basic class this weekend. I'll share this with my instructors either this evening or tomorrow morning. Thin slice with some breakfast eggs. Guys, I appreciate your views and I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for school, for family, and for business. All our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And remember, in the links below, in the description box is my Amazon store. Most of the tools and implements that I use around the outdoor kitchen are in that Amazon store or on Self-Reliance Outfitters website. And also, don't forget to go to Patreon. Check it out there. There is some content there that you may want to see, and I'd appreciate your support there as well. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks.